That's, you know, I had the radio today and it took 45 minutes to figure out the connection because everything was down. Everything. I could not even believe it. And I thought, I'll just relax, walk around the living room a bit. So I called Robert. I said, I don't know where you are on the continent, but you need to come home and fix this.
That was like at the autism dance. She called Aaron, Cassie's husband.
Yeah.
She's like, the DJ's having a tech problem.
Yes. Okay, we're ready. I just made sure I called Colin to see if it was
Troubleshooting audio.
What?
He's troubleshooting audio.
Well, it's working with Colin.
Okay. So we should just run.
I'm just.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to resume what we started at 6:07 p.m. or so, and now it's 6:05 p.m. on February 19th, 2026. And this is the Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Commission meeting for the city of Grover Beach, California. What we're going to do now is let all of you know this meeting can be viewed on Channel 20. Members of the public may provide public comment during the meeting by calling area code 805-321-6639. That's area code 805-321-6639. And the phone line is now open. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, thank you. So now we're going to do the flag salute. And because CJ is who he is, he's going to lead us in the flag salute.
Ready?
Yes.
Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, and now we'll have roll call by the Deputy City Clerk.
Commissioner Vihil,
Present.
Commissioner Oden. Here. Commissioner Scacinoce.
Here.
Commissioner
Ruschenberg here.
And Chair Shower.
Here, thank you. Okay, did everyone have a chance to look at this agenda? We hope, in color. It's beautiful. Let me see here. Now, I marked all the pages, so we will now ask for, because this is the evening that we do this, we're going to ask for appointment of a chair and vice chair brought to you by this commission. So the Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Commission will nominate and select a chair and a vice chair to serve from February 19th, 2026 through December, so that must mean December 31st, 2026. So we're going to have a little discussion so that we know what we're going to do. Number one, you may nominate yourself or you may nominate another commissioner. Once an individual is selected for the seat, then we're going to ask for a motion and a second, and then I'm going to ask if there's any further discussion, because that's proper, and then we'll take a vote after we have our further discussion. Is that clear? Are there any questions? Hi.
Hello.
No questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you go over what the role is and for each role and what that means specifically?
So what I know is that we have a chair, and then we are all commissioners.
Okay.
And I don't even know, do we have a vice chair?
Yes, CJ.
Oh, thank you, CJ. Do you have anything special you do other than if I'm not here, you crawl over me and get in this seat?
No.
Okay. So the only person that really has duties is what comes in the binder to the chair. But we are asked to appear at certain, I can tell you, at certain city council meetings, not to say something necessarily, but to be present, especially if Mr. Kim is going to say something on behalf of this commission and on behalf of this department. You may certainly go to anything that we have, and we have many parties during the year. We have things we do in the gardens. We have Halloween that we do things. We have Christmas lights. We have garden tours. All of that is available to us if we want to do that. And then at the end of the year, there's the Christmas parade, and we should all be there to do that.
Okay,
Does that help you?
it does. Thank you.
Okay. There isn't anything that's required of us in writing, that we have to write anything, except when we vote, but we keep that close to our heart, because it's not necessary for everyone to know how we vote. It's only necessary that we see that we are all voting. Did I miss anything?
No, yeah, it's just more of a lead role for the actual commission to help. Testing, yeah. Yeah, it's just a lead role for the commission to lead the meetings and just play an active role in city functions as needed. So, yeah, and we have a vice chair in case the chair is unavailable for their duties.
And if you want to know whether or not we have a budget, we do not.
Okay.
It's just not in the budget that we have a budget. Correct, Mundo, right?
Right, as we are an
Well, actually, yeah,
advisory.
you are an
board.
advisory council, so you do not make decisions on
That's the
financial.
difference. We advise the city council on matters. We don't make the vote and then they vote, they accept our vote. That's their job to vote.
Okay.
But we do advise them. We have been advising them for 2 years now, off and on, about the Ramona Garden Park expansion. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So, that's where we are. Let me hear from somebody.
Sure, let's just go ahead and get the ball rolling here. I'd like to nominate Ms. Anita Schauer to continue to chair our commission.
Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you. Well, I will accept that.
And I'll second the nomination.
Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you very much. Okay, any further nominations? You want to just do this particular person to be nominated? Is there any discussion about this particular person being nominated and taking the lead once more?
She's wonderful.
Oh my gosh, stop, you'll make me
second.
blush. I didn't even wear red. Well, it's a pleasure being with all of you, I can tell you that. Thank you very much. So we have, shall I ask for a motion for Anita Schauer to continue, and then I'll need a second.
I'll motion
And I'll
to
second.
accept Anita Schauer as our chair.
Well, Shonda, thank you very much. CJ, thank you very much. Any further discussion? This is protocol, you have to do this. No further discussion, then we'll take a vote. Do you want a voice vote, or do you want to call the vote?
Voice vote's fine.
Okay. All in favor of having Anita Schauer continue her role as chair of this commission, please say aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
all opposed? Okay, so that passes. Thank you very much. And we need a vice chair. Vice chairs are very important because the chair could have a flat tire on her car that goes forward and backwards. She may not read her email. Oh, that's bad. She may not get email. That's worse. Okay, anyone care to nominate anyone or nominate themselves to be the vice chair?
I would be interested in the vice chair if CJ isn't.
I would like to nominate you to be the vice chair.
So Catherine Odom, O-D-E-N, the second famous Odom we've had in this city. I'll tell you about the first one sometime. As the vice chair, anyone want to have more discussion about what the vice chair does? If not, I will see that Ms. Odom, you want to make the motion, which you may do.
I'll make a motion for Odom to be your vice chair.
All right.
I'll second.
And the second by LaShonda. Thank you very much. Any further discussion in having Catherine with the C, O-D as in David, E-N, be the vice chair? Hearing none, then we'll take a vote. All in favor of having Catherine Odom as the vice chair of this commission, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, we have taken care of that matter of business. Thank you very much. So we don't have to change chairs. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Public communication is next, isn't that correct? Moving right along. Is there anyone in the audience? Wasn't there someone in the audience? Not there? All right, there's no one in the audience here in the chamber for public communications. So I'm going to just read what I should read so that people who are listening will also understand. During this time, the commission will allow public communication with additional communication, if necessary, allowed after the regular business items. Any member of the public may address the commission for a period not to exceed 3 minutes total on any item of interest within the jurisdiction of this commission. The commission will listen to all communications. However, in compliance with the Brown Act, the commission cannot act on items not on the agenda. So I will officially open public comment and once again ask, is there anyone in the chamber who wishes to speak? And now may I ask, is there anyone on the line, anyone calling in?
No, there's not.
All right, thank you. So no one has called in either, so now I'm going to close public comment, and then we will just move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda information. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address the commission on any item listed under the consent agenda? If so, we may pull it for discussion at this time or following all items listed under the regular business portion of the agenda. So under the consent agenda, number 1 is the minutes of the Park, Recreation, and Beautification Commission on Thursday, December 18th. God, that was a great meeting. And then number 2, Community Services bi-monthly reports through January 2026. And the recommended action on both is to approve the minutes as submitted. That was number 1. And then to review and file monthly report on number 2. So may I have a motion? We may take these together because it is the consent agenda. So may I have a motion, please, for the consent agenda?
I motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, LaShonda. And number 2, the second one on that motion would be whom?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you very much. Good, thank you. Any further discussion on these 2 items on the consent agenda? One is the minutes of December the 18th, and the other one is Community Services bi-monthly report through January 2026. Okay, so hearing no discussion at all, we are now going to do a voice vote. All in favor of the consent agenda and these 2 items, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? Thank you very much. So that is now taken care of, and we thank you for that. Next, what we're going to do, there wasn't anyone in the chambers, so we didn't ask for any public comment, but I didn't ask for any public comment on the consent agenda for a telephone. Did anyone call in?
No one's on
It's
the
in
line.
the wrong place. Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go. We have presentations. Mrs. Wiggin, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you. You're going to do a little presentation for us?
I am, a quick
And
one.
this is on the Ramona Garden Park update, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get started then.
Thank you.
So Ramona Garden Park is a 2-acre park, and back in 2020, the council adopted the Ramona Garden Park Master Plan. There was a significant amount of public outreach done at that time in 2019, actually right before the world shut down. We did several large events and had a significant amount of public outreach and engagement. So the master plan was developed, and it really provides like a high-level roadmap for the city to use in planning and construction. And then that master plan was further refined as we actually designed the park. And that was refined to 4 different phases for parks construction. Phases 1 and 2 are under construction right now. That's the playground, then the amphitheater and band shell. And then up at the corner there is also, that's going to be a stormwater retention pond, and that's for your stormwater treatment that's required. Phase 3 and 4 aren't highlighted on here, but phase 3 is all along Ramona Avenue, kind of reworking that park entrance there. And then phase 4 is the areas adjacent to the library. your groundbreaking was for Ramona Garden Park for phases 1 and 2 took place last summer on June 16th. And then I have just a progress photo from a couple of months later. You can see all the earthwork activity that was going on. Now, fast forward, the upper left corner is the placement of the prefabricated restroom building that was done in November. And then to the right is the forming, and you can sort of see the columns in the picture with the stage and the band shell area. The bottom left was last week, where they are forming the amphitheater seat walls, and then the playground is going to the north side of the park. And that's the presentation. We're on schedule to complete the project in advance and before the summer concerts this year. And with that,
It
are
will be
there
completed before that begins?
correct?
May I ask, the playground equipment that is there right now, is that it?
All of the playground equipment that is there is on site. It is not installed. Not all of it's installed yet, but it is on the site.
And then there's black tarp, see-through tarp going around that area of the park, correct?
Sorry, I'm not understanding the
Well,
question.
there's some tarp around the fencing of that area of the park, and it's kind of see-through, but I think that's probably just to keep dust and wind and rain from hitting everybody.
It's the construction temporary fencing.
Okay.
Yeah.
CJ, do you have any questions?
I do. Thank you very much. The a couple of questions. When it says the band shell is also underway, under construction, as well as the playground. So the actual band shell that was kind of like the bigger kind of wish list item. So that's for sure gone ahead.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
picture the stage, the upper right corner, you can see the columns. Kind of hard to see, let me show you. But those are the columns right there that are going in, and then the structure will be, the roof will be on top.
Right, okay. And so it also says that a large portion of the $4.6 million project is funded by the Community Development Block Grant. And I know that it was really hopeful that a large portion of that, but how much, like proportion-wise? Can you speak to that? Because
Yes, yeah. The grant that the city was awarded was for construction purposes was nearly $3.2 million, and then the rest of the funding has been funded with different what's called DIF funds, your development impact fees. So funds that developers pay when they build, that goes into a fund for parks construction and parks and recreation and different funds.
and these are developers throughout the city.
Yes.
So
That's what I was gonna
Over
ask,
time.
thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
So it's
sure.
been over time. You've accumulated, the city's accumulated a pot of money that can be spent only on like parks construction projects.
Okay, so 3.2 was done from the grant, an amount was diffs, and then an amount was the block, the
Block
community,
grant,
the
yeah.
community development block grant.
The community development block grant was the $3.2 million. Then the rest of the funding was the DIF funding from city funds.
I'm sorry, I was referencing the community program for the bricks and stuff like that.
Okay.
Was that a part of these figures, or?
That hasn't been final yet. The amount that we've raised there, I think it might have been approximately 30,000, but
I was just
yeah.
happy to know that was not a part of it. Okay.
Correct. No.
Very, very cool.
No. Yeah.
Okay, no further questions for now. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
mhm.
So may I ask again about the DIF funds? That's for all construction within the city. Doesn't make any difference if it's residential or commercial. We're going to realize some of that money from funds and fees that the construction people do.
Correct. And you know, the larger the project, the larger the development impact fee that the developers pay.
Well, there must be a scale for that, correct?
There is,
And
yes.
it depends on the size? Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry.
That's all right, thank you.
Did we have to go into our reserves or our general fund to make the any of the project happened, but specifically the band shell, because that was kind of my big question. I remember sort of the last meeting that we had, if I'm remembering correctly, when we were kind of talking about band shells and whatnot. There are a couple of ideas floated as far as, well, maybe we don't have something so grandiose if we're having trouble filling that gap. And so does that mean that that's where the diffs come into play? Is that the diffs filled that gap? So that's
the diffs,
question number one. And then question number two is, does that take away from either another community capital improvement project, or one of the lesser projects that we've talked about on the council here, as far as, we've set goals kind of number of times, and we've all had various ideas or based off of what it is that we're supposed to be doing, which is communicating with the community at large and saying, hey, we've noticed this and this. These are things that would actually be helpful for everyday use that people are doing. Some of those weren't meeting, I think, the dollar amount of what it takes to be a capital improvement project. And so I'm wondering, one, if those diffs, if they, one, were allocated for something else, and two, if they could have been used for something else. For example, if we had decided to just do like a gazebo or something, that's still nice, like Aurora Grande has, but not. So what was it? Was it $500,000 for the band shell?
Probably.
Okay.
Something around there. I don't have that, but that's.
I'm stoked that stoked. It's going to be awesome. It's going to look really, really good, and it's going to be a great thing to have for like our visiting guests. I just, trying to check on priorities and sort of circling back to some of the dialogue that was had at some of the previous council or some of the previous commission meetings, which I don't really feel that we've like touched on again. And so that was the only question. And so again, to summarize, the other questions are. The diffs that were used to close the gap to like make the band shell happen and whatnot, were those allocated for something else, or are there any projects that are kind of being put off so that those funds from those diffs could be used for this project instead of let's say something else? Okay,
so let me kind of answer that in two parts. So diff funds are very specific on what they can be used for. I'm not in finance, I'm just an engineer, so I don't know exactly the specifics and legalities regarding that, but they are specific on having to have like a new park or acquire land for a new park. So you couldn't use it really you couldn't use these diff funds to...
updates and upgrades aren't on the table.
Right. Okay. So it has to be specific. Now, I will say... during this process with the project, with the allocated funding with diff funds and with the CDBG $3.2 million grant, there has been this, what has been called, and it went to council, and it was a $450,000 funding gap, if you will. And your council made the decision to go use try to raise funds with the donation campaign, and then fund the rest of that funding gap, if you will, with general fund reserves, $450,000. I do know that there are plans to revisit that with council as far as the community investment there and where we are and the results of that outreach campaign, but I don't have that information. I didn't run that program, so I don't know where that stands right now.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Does that help?
Does that help?
Question about the shell. It's my understanding that the shell is not going to, when delivered and situated, is not going to have any electricity in it, any lights, any sound system, nothing. We're just bringing in the shell, and then we're going to have to add to that?
Yeah, I'm sure Aaron could elaborate if I'm incorrect, but the shell is more of a structure and a covering. But and we will have power around the stage itself. I just discussed that with her earlier. But we have we are not actually providing any kind of permanent amplified sound structure or any kind of lighting. So.
Yeah, may I ask how we do that? Is that going to be a separate fundraising mechanism so that that shell becomes what we want it to be, so that there is music and dancing?
I could answer that because I program the park.
Okay.
Most of those types of events, either any type of amphitheater type of venue. Some of them have small house sound systems, like the large ones that you're comfortable going to, say Santa Barbara Bowl, for example. But and almost in every single case on any type of larger scale event, every event promoter brings their whole production, which includes sound and lighting. So all that stuff is trucked and installed on the day of. Like for the type of use that the city uses, it doesn't make any sense for us to put that kind of investment into the park with the potential vandalism and the maintenance and the upkeep required to make that
So
happen.
that's part of the entertainer's contract.
That's part
You
of
will provide the
yeah.
following.
So
Okay.
for our summer concert series, for example, we do have a contractor that comes out and does sound for the entire event for all of our events, because the scope and the size of the amount of equipment that is required and the upkeep of that makes it makes very little sense for a city to have. So yeah.
And then may I ask, what about the lighting inside the shell? Is
well,
there, or will there be lighting?
There's going to be some minimal lighting in the shell itself, but at the same time, the type of lighting that you're probably thinking of for like a concert in the evening, that stuff is also something that would be completely come in and rented out separately. Right now, we have no plans to do evening events at the moment. We do have noise ordinance restrictions as well, and we are in a residential neighborhood right there. As needed, things can always be brought in, and it would be required by the promoter, or if we were to put an event on ourselves, it would require us to rent and make sure that happens.
Okay. So that's just for the commissioner's information. We do have a noise ordinance, and that pertains to all kinds of noise in the city. It may start at 7 and it ends at 7 p.m.
Good.
Okay. And people that come here and are part of all these activities are well aware of that, because that's also in the contracts for entertainers. Okay? I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. And then is this a time we may discuss the artwork, or does that come up at a later time? And do we need?
Today, the reason why Aaron's here today is just to give you an update on the current status.
Okay.
We're not here for any kind of recommendations or any kind of advisement at that point. Most of the plans and for the parks were all discussed at prior meetings, and
Yes.
the decisions were made. Should there be anything specific that that the council feels like is appropriate for the parks to make an advisement to, we will certainly staff will certainly write a report and present that to you. So.
Thank you very much.
You're
If
welcome.
I
didn't
could
interrupt
add,
you.
no, you didn't. I just also want to clarify that the art is part of phase 3. So that is currently unfunded right now, but that would be discussed with phase 3.
Oh, all right, because maybe we need to discuss how we're going to do funding for that, because it is a necessary component, correct? I mean,
Right.
it is on paper somewhere.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like, at the very least, the ballpark of the 30 grand that came from the actual, community program, it would be neat if that was used for something like art. That was an off-the-cuff thought and not actually my question. Question is, do diffs come from, I know, they come from development impacts and stuff like that. Once those come in, do they then go to like the general fund? I guess my overall question is any of this project coming out of the general fund?
So potentially general fund reserves is what council has identified for the funding gap. We are, we're not at that stage yet where we need to tap into the general fund reserves because.
As of the phases that are currently under.
Sorry,
way.
we're not at the part in construction where we need to tap into, the grant is still covering everything that we're doing. We likely won't need any funding until the very end of the project. I can also work to try to manage and kind of close that gap a little bit.
Okay.
Which is also what I've been trying to do. So we don't really know that true gap yet until the end of the project.
Gotcha. Thank you very much for breaking that down. I appreciate it.
And for the benefit of those who are new to this commission, when do we anticipate that end?
So likely early June, like late May, early June is when the project will be complete.
And then are you the responsible person who's taking all these terrific photographs?
I don't know if I would say they're terrific. I'm a really bad photographer, but I have been taking pictures out there.
Let's get
Yes.
to the important stuff here.
Well, it's very important to keep that log
Yeah,
and that dialogue
yeah,
going.
yeah.
We thank you very much for
Yeah.
doing that. Are there any other questions?
I have more, but I don't want to be selfish. Do you have any questions?
No, you are. Go ahead. Thank you.
This might be more directed to Mr. Larry Kim. Do you, or it might be hard to quantify that, but do you expect that there might be additional, like once all is said and done, the band shell is delivered and it's constructed and, it's structured that it is, do you expect that there might be any more fees than there typically have been, or more costs rather than there typically have been to set up the actual, like all the audio equipment and stuff like that? Are we going to need to do more stuff? Like,
Okay. Just to clarify what you're asking, do you think that are you asking it's because we have kind of a larger stage and auditorium setup? Are you thinking that the requirements in order to make that work are going to be bigger, which requires higher costs?
I have no idea. So that is exactly what I'm asking.
Okay. So it really just depends on the size and scope of the events. Currently, our largest event is our summer concerts, and for all intended purposes, we are size restricted to the size of the park. So we're not. And with a reduction in a little bit of the actual overall park size due to the playground, I don't see us being able to expand the number of people beyond our current capacity. And with that, I don't believe there are extra sound requirements. If we were to go louder and larger, it would only affect or probably have issues with noise with farther out towards the residents as well. So, but if anything, it's going to make things easier because there's going to be less requirements in terms of needs that the sound companies need, because we are actually making sure that we are wired electrically for the proper amount of circuits that we need, and there's going to be the way it's laid out, it's going to be a lot safer space for everyone to enjoy. So overall, I think it's going to be more efficient, and which at the end of the day will be kind of I would think a lower cost overall. Yeah.
That's all. Thank you so much. I knew you were going to be able to speak to that. I
right,
appreciate
thank
it.
He's the music man.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Anyone else care to ask anything? Want to ask anything about the restrooms, which are in place? Look beautiful.
Are you happy with the restrooms?
I think they actually turned out really, really great. And another thing that I'll add to it, it's the structure. The restrooms are similar to what they have at other parks, where you don't go in and then go into like different partitions. It's just the main door right to the restroom. So it's easier for PD to patrol. It's easier for people to keep an eye on their kids. You don't have to worry about them going into a room and then different partitions and who's in there.
The placement is so much better. It's
a
so
lot
much
better.
safer,
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
overall. It's a very safe park to begin with, but
Yeah.
yeah, very much.
Well, we owe that to everyone sitting here because we really took our time figuring out which restroom would be the best for the community, and we did that. You're happy with that as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was so disappointed to come on right after those conversations because I come from plumbing. Like, I feel like I really would have shined in that moment, but
Well, you can help us decorate it.
that's not a thing.
Thank you very much.
I did have a question about that. So it did seem a little small. Is there a men's and a women's and a family or restroom?
There's
or?
3 gender neutral restrooms. You have to have 2 that are ADA accessible. So there's 3 restrooms there.
Okay.
And then 2 of them are ADA or
ADA
all 3?
compliant, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the family is because many of our guests who come here come from areas in Europe where the families all go together. So they know where the children are, they know where the grown-up children are, and that's what they wanted, and we paid attention to that. That's why there are 3 under one roof.
Okay.
Okay. Did we leave anything out in the way of really taking this apart as much as we were going to take it apart today? Mr. Kim, did we do good?
I think you're very thorough, and I think Ms. Wiggins is very impressed with your questions.
And the playground equipment is probably from the best people that do this kind of work.
We've had it, we actually purchased it ahead of time. So we've had it in storage for a year. At Central Coast Playgrounds, the installer is
That's who it
top
is.
notch, yeah.
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 And there's things there for adults as well.
Yeah, adults could use them.
Yes.
I can race you on the zip line if you want.
But isn't there a walkway for
There's a
people
walkway.
as well? Does it go on the outskirts of the area or through
Actually,
the park?
both.
Fantastic.
It's kind of on the outs. It's the perimeter of the playground.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's very good. They haven't really uncovered anything that they did not expect, have they?
That occurs on a daily basis. So depending on the magnitude of that, yeah.
And then, well, with you saying that, you must get a report every day, do you?
Oh yeah, I'm usually on site every day. Yeah.
And you're pleased with how everybody's behaving?
Yes.
So I mean, the
Everyone being
neighbors all
nice.
say this is such a terrific project
Yeah.
because it has really not disengaged anybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I keep reminding the contractor. He is a local contractor.
Yes.
His office is kind of over, sort of close to the Grange. It's off of.
13?
Yeah, he's off of 13th. So, I keep reminding him of that. So.
Oh, thank you very much. There's no loud music, I know that. We're waiting until it's all finished.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Any other questions before we move on just a little bit? So we're not going to improve anything, we're just discussing this. And we thank you for your presentation, that was great. So now, if everyone's in favor, we will just move on to number 3, under number 3, the regular business. So may I say, under regular business, as a reminder, if there's anyone who wants to call in under public comment, this is your time right now to give us a public comment on any item. And the number is 805-321-6639. Once again, the number is 805-321-6639. And we're going to go to item 4 under regular business, and that is update on the capital improvement program, the CIP project. And once again, Ms. Wiggins, will you address us, please?
Sure. And this will also tie into some of the questions that you had previously, so this is a good segue. So we produce a draft CIP, Capital Improvement Program, and we present it in March to the City Council for their review. We do, these projects identify, these are significant projects, so over $50,000, and the CIP includes a 5-year period. And I will say 2 years are what are budgeted, and then the last 3 years are planned. So we are planning these projects with the intent of having funding, but sometimes we get to those out years and funding changes. So the goal is to advance projects related to council goals and priorities and our infrastructure and system needs. So I am currently developing that draft. It will go to council next month. But I do like to talk to the PRBC as an advisory body to council to get your input so I can take that when I go present it to council. I will say that we will be in the second year of a 2-year budget, so the changes are very limited and minimal to the CIP this year. It's mostly adjusting funding, and sometimes with adjusting the funding, you have to adjust the scope. So as you, being the advisory body to council, you advise them on parks projects and facilities needs. So your current CIP, the one that we are using right now, has Ramona Garden Park, like we just talked about, and that's the marquee project really for the city this year. That is the biggest project we have going on right now. We already talked about the funding and the CDBG and the DIF funding for that.
Yeah.
These are pictures that look very similar. We just walked through those. Now you have the other project that you have in the CIP was based on recommendations from the PRBC and council adoption, was the Mentone Basin Park project. Now that's currently planned for fiscal year '28. So again, that's not budgeted. That is planned at this time. So what I'm looking for now is, I should say that project involves replacing the lights over at the courts over there. They are really dated. Quite frankly, they're on life support, trying to fix them. So they do need to be completely replaced. And then this does involve adding adult fitness equipment along the perimeter, probably like 4 different stations along that perimeter, because you have that great DG path along Trouville, and then you have sidewalk all along the perimeter of the park. So what I'm looking for today is concurrence that this Mentone Basin Park project is still the priority that I should be taking to council. I will point out that there is a significant amount of unfunded needs in our CIP. You being the PRBC, I'm sure you're familiar with the community center over off of Trouville. We had a facilities conditions and needs assessment a few years ago, and that facility is nearing the end of its useful life. We also have phases 3 and 4 of Ramona Garden Park that aren't funded. The police station and city hall are in need of upgrades. The Public Works Corporation yard needs some significant rehabilitation. And then you have had some projects in here for a while with a permanent T-ball field at 16th Street Park, and then potential trails at Meadow Creek walking trails. And that's all I have with the CIP. Like I said, we're really just trying to get your recommendations that I can take to council, and I want to see if your recommendation for Mentone is still what you would like to have me present to council.
So is this commission aware that we have this particular list, and are you happy with it? Did you want to add anything to it? Did you want to change the format and put the bottom one at the top?
So you mean this list is in order of priority?
This
or-
list is not in order
Okay,
of priorities.
okay.
It's just an order of how I listed them in the CIP. There's no priority.
And to be clear, this list is not a list for just the Parks Commission. This is a list of all general CIP projects for the city. She included all of the needs based on all of our other departments as well.
No,
The ones
no.
specific to us, right?
This is just the parks and facilities.
Oh, parks
Yeah.
and facilities. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, but facilities, it covers all facilities, not just parks facilities.
Right.
Because City Hall and police station don't apply
Yeah,
to us.
right.
So in terms of our CIP that we
Yes.
had, in terms of our priority list, it included the Mentone Basin Park and the permanent T-ball fields. I think I don't remember what the order was, but I think, Mentone was the top one that we kept. And keep in mind now, I'm changing the order. It's not going to guarantee anything or shift anything. It just puts which priority that our commission feels is the best priority for parks and beautification. And it also doesn't guarantee funding at all, because there is no allocated funding set for it, even in fiscal year 2028. So, yeah.
Isn't it customary to find a project and then go find the funding, as opposed to finding funding and then getting the project? Or does it make any difference to the city how they go about doing that?
It's done both ways typically, but yes, the intent is to certainly identify projects. I have a long list of unfunded needs in the CIP. So
That's wonderful, actually. We're fortunate to have that list.
Yeah.
And may I ask about the building over on Trouville? So I believe that's a 1950s structure. And so would you say the whole thing is going to come down, or you're just going to renovate the windows and the flooring and the exit and the entrance?
That's a good question. What does useful life mean in that
So,
context?
Buildings all have a lifespan,
Yeah.
right? That particular building, from my understanding, was 2 barracks that were moved from a base and placed on that site sometime in the 80s, I think. Maybe even before that. So structurally, mobile units aren't as typically sound as a building constructed in place. So it is approaching, we had the facilities conditions and needs assessment, which found a lot of things, the HVAC needs improvements, plumbing, the building envelope is old. So at this point, the findings showed that it's not economical to repair or update the building as it is. It just keep repairing things as they break to hold on to it, but not investing in that building.
Okay.
But to
And it's like an
replace
old car with too many miles. It's just going to continue to break down. So,
But it's a
I'd-
necessity to the city to have it where it is, correct?
I'm in total agreement with you,
Well,
and I
it-
don't think that until we were able to figure out a situation that works and funding to do it, I don't think there's any plans to tear it down. But I mean, in terms of the facility needs assessment that was done by an independent party, a consultant, I assume. They made that designation where it's in the long run, and as a city, we play the long game because we are a city. It is in our best interest to at some point replace it altogether. So.
You, for one, certainly know how many days of the week it's used.
Oh, I'm aware. Yeah. Mhm.
And given that point, I think it's really within our purview to. I guess what I'm saying is that building in particular is used so heavily by the community,
Yeah, it
right?
is.
And we have a number of parks, right? But we just have that one facility, and we do a really good job of putting on a lot of events. But you kind of got me thinking as far as the if we are reshuffling priorities or anything like that. I think a new community center, as you're talking about, it's at really any point something could, the HVAC could go out or whatever, another storm comes in and then part of the roof, whatever. I would like that to, be on, however higher on the radar, as whatever power we have to say, yes, please, focus on that. There's that, but then also, can you kind of, as you did for the community center, kind of qualitatively break down the condition of the police station and City Hall, right? We know that the community center is a couple of modulars that slap together. It's really old. It's a money pit. Really, at any time, something bad could happen. Is the police station, City Hall, that bad as well, or is it just we want upgrades because of new technology, or what? What is the big driving force behind the police station and the City Hall?
Well, we could, I could refer you to the facilities conditions and needs assessment, and you could take a look at that. But yes, the real crux of it is the city has always lacked maintenance. So the way to have things last is to invest in preventative maintenance, and the city just historically has not been done well with that. So the police station facility is actually one of the better facilities, but it doesn't meet the needs of the police department. But in terms of like structure and all of the findings with it, it is a little better than the other buildings. City Hall here. So this is your newest structure.
That's
This
right.
I want to say this was 30 years old, I think. This being the newest city structure connecting these two buildings. City Hall is in much worse shape than the police department. And then the Public Works Corporation yard is probably the worst facility that you have in the city in terms of the shape that it's in. But that's all spelled out in the facilities conditions and needs assessment.
Okay.
So, and there were scenarios where we could potentially like repurpose the police department, perhaps for City Hall, and then the police department could move somewhere else. So there were all different scenarios about how we could most effectively and economically use structures that we have already.
To learn more about how it's not meeting the current needs of the police department, given the current, this or that, would the best thing to do just be to reach out to Chief Monroe?
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
you could do that. And then, because he could spell out exactly what that entails. And there are a couple staff reports that I could refer you to. I don't know the dates exactly, but I could follow up with that.
Thank you.
And then would you make that accessible to all of us on the commission? In case we would like to also see that? And what I wanted to know about the courtyard, that's land that the city owns, correct? We're not renting that.
We are not renting that over there. The city owns the corporation yard.
Okay, thank you.
Can you talk a little bit more about the Mentone Park? So it sounded to me like that one should be a priority, in that lighting is kind of a safety issue. So if we have people that are walking around that, I would be very concerned that, there is no lighting and someone could get hurt.
So there is lighting at the courts. You have the new pickleball courts over there, the basketball courts, and there is lighting. It's just they break frequently. It's getting harder and harder to find electricians that can actually do the repairs. The equipment is so old that it can't just be rewired anymore. So I don't want it to be confused with like street lighting that's over, like the street lighting is separate, but these are for the courts. And those courts, that park is pretty heavily used especially with the pickleball you have over there now. I see basketball there a lot. I think that's always been like that. So,
Always, yes.
yeah. So, the courts just help, or excuse me, the lights help with, keeping that park active.
Okay. And can you talk to us a little bit about maybe capital improvement grants? Are there grants that you're seeking, state, federal, anything like that? How does that process work?
So we are always open to trying to apply for grants. It's very hard, and grants are very competitive. A lot of times it's disadvantaged-based communities that are the ones that are more successful with getting those grants, and Grover Beach is not considered a disadvantaged community in terms of median household income. So there are a lot of grant opportunities, but not a lot where Grover Beach competes well.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
LaShonda?
So is the $200,000 for the fitness equipment and the lighting?
That's correct. Yeah, for both items. So you could split it if it comes
you have a
to
breakdown of how much just the lighting would be?
likely at about 100,000. It's about half and half. Yeah.
Is it fair to say when somebody with the grant money is looking at us, they do look at the demographics of Grover Beach?
I'm not an expert. I have applied for a few grants. I'm not an expert, so I don't know that. It just depends on specific grants and what they are looking for.
Yeah, there's no hard and fast rule. Every grant it has so many different layers to it, and with that different stipulations, everything from if something is ready to go versus a specific demographic or a specific economic status. So there's no one size fits all when it comes to.
So I was wondering how the disadvantaged community phrase would fit into a grant application. How do we know that?
Like every grant has very specific requirements written into the grants themselves. So with that, you'll be able to immediately identify what you're able to apply for and what you're not. And if you have any specific questions, you can reach out to them specifically, and they'll be very clear to if you're eligible or not. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I know you know how to do that. You've been doing that for quite some time, and I don't know if it's getting more difficult to apply because so many people do apply, but I'm sure that you keep your cool, as they say.
I try.
Anything else?
What's involved in making the T-ball field permanent?
That mostly is and I don't have a picture of it, but it's over at 16th Street Park. You kind of have a backstop there already. It's kind of the area closer to Oak Park. And so that would just involve regrading the site, installing addressing the backstop over there, and then long-term maintenance to maintain that field. But that's what that project entails.
I mean, does it mean that it's gonna, if it's not permanent now, that it's gonna stop being able to be used at a certain point?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different uses over there right now. But if it is a permanent T-ball field, then you probably wouldn't see people, well, maybe you would. There's people that use it for dogs. People play soccer over there. But once you make it a T-ball field, it's harder to do other, freelance sports on there, if you will.
Just the cost-wise, that one seems like a rounding error practically compared to the other ones. Almost like throw it on the pile.
Just kidding.
Yeah, no, why not do it? Yeah.
Yeah, as a reminder, we are an advisory body, so like our goals are not to evaluate, make our decisions based on what we think financially is like a value, but more about what we think is the most important needs to our community. And then at that point, when Aaron passes it on to council, it'll be council's job to figure out what we feel is appropriate for funding as well. So I'm trying to keep things on track for her. I know she's gotten a lot of questions outside the scope of her actual staff report today, and I applaud everybody's interest and information, but I'm just trying to make sure that we stay on track, and I apologize for losing my voice.
Are we on track, or did we get off?
I mean, I think the original question was we want to keep the recommendations as they are. I mean,
Yeah.
I think overall, I would say yes.
Yeah, we're happy with what has been recommended. And I'm sure because we had to leave Ramona Garden Park, that we realize now that 16th Street is very important to the city.
No, I think 16th Street has proven itself as a wonderful place to host some special events, and we will continue to do so, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I don't feel that we grilled you, we just had a lot of questions. So we thank you very much. It was great. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to, because there are two people in the council chambers, and if either one of you would like to speak, I should have asked you that in the very beginning, but if you don't want to speak, do you speak?
Absolutely.
And then, may I ask, is there anyone on the line? I'm a little backwards on this.
No, there's not.
Okay, thank you very much. So now I'll move to this page, and we'll say, so we will close public comment, we'll close the phones for right this moment, and have we concluded our discussion, and what happened to Miss Wiggins? She disappeared.
I believe she thought you were done.
I wanted to applaud her. We will.
She might hear us. Go, Aaron.
I mean, that was really great, and thank you for keeping us on track. We simply had a lot of questions, and I always want this commission to ask the questions.
Oh, no, I thought they were wonderful questions, and I think it was very informative for everyone, so.
Yeah. Okay, so there was no motion on that. Now we shall go to number 5, and it's number 5, Beautification Awards nominations, and it says 2025 Beautification Awards nominations, and our community service supervisor, wonderful person, Larry Kim, is going to talk to us now.
All right, thank you, everyone. It's that time of year every year where we approach our nominations and recognition for our beautification awards. This is a year-round process, but I always give a reminder the meeting before we actually select our awards about the process. And since we have 2 new commissioners on board, I thought we'd talk about a little bit about the overview and how it works. So our nominations are open all year. So at any time during the year you see a new residence or a new business and you think that they they are should be nominated for award. You should just maybe take a picture, write down an address, and send me an email, and just anytime throughout the year we can compile them and hold on to them. But if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, you still have time, because at our April meeting we will be taking these nominations and we'll be voting on them. So commissioners nominate. We asked that all commissioners nominate at least one property in each category in each election district. And so winners for this year's beautification awards will be selected at our April 16th PRBC meeting, which is our next meeting coming up. For award categories, we have, since we changed the process back in 2023, this is how our award categories work. We have single family residences, multifamily residences, and commercial properties. Our submission deadline for all these nominations will be April 1st of this year. That gives staff enough time to collect all these nominations and have them presented in time for our next meeting. Our criteria for beautification has to meet these bullet points. Any kind of architectural appeal or landscaping improvements. So if you see an old business that's done a lot to make itself look prettier, that's probably a good example. Or if you've seen an old home that's it's changed in a way that you've noticed, just makes that block like sing. That's a good qualifier for that. Also, no obvious need for maintenance at the property, so it's just general tidiness in general. So compliance with city ordinance and requirements. This is kind of an open-ended question. Like, if you're not sure if they're complying, you can always just send a picture to me with an address, and I can always reach out to our community development to make sure, our code enforcement to make sure they're compliant. But it's I think it's one of those things where you can probably see it with your eyes. And finally, it has not received a beautification award in the past 5 years. I do not have a list of the past 5 years. I could see that as a potential question, so I'm heading that off right now. But if you have it, like I said, just feel free to send the nomination in, and I can tell you if they've already won an award in the past. So. And finally, it's simple. We have an election map, election district map, and I have it listed there if you need a hard copy. It's probably in your agenda packet, but we also have them available online. Also, it's one of those things where you can just send me the address, and I will tell you if it's in that district, and you can just go, did I make a nomination in any district? So we will all winners. We will give them an award certificate, and we'll give them a little sign to put out on their actual properties as well. Just so you know, we will not have a spring garden tour this year. In our past few years, and I will explain, if you can feel free to ask questions afterwards. Our spring garden tour in the past couple of years has been very self-guided, and with the nominations we've had, it's been very difficult for us to get approval from the residents and owners willing to show their properties, and on top of that, to have volunteers at each site has proven difficult in the past couple of years too. It does not mean we don't want to showcase our beautification winners. We are happy to put all of our beautification winners on our interactive map, like we did with the Holiday of Lights, and we will be making sure that they're recognized. So the more nominations I get from our Parks Commission, the more the city can see, the community can see the nominations and the winners as well. So that concludes my presentation. There's no action today. It's just a reminder of one of your duties as a Parks Commissioner is to nominate, and I look forward to seeing all of your nominations. I can only use one picture for every nomination when we present them at our meeting. So maybe be mindful of the best picture. If you send me 5 pictures, I'm going to pick the best one that I think represents the property. But if you have one specifically that you love, or I know in meetings in the past that they'd be like, oh, this house has a beautiful garden in the back, but I never got a picture of the garden. So it really makes it hard for me to represent that home or something on behalf of the commissioners that nominate. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Can you go back to the categories?
Yeah, absolutely. So single family residences are just pretty straightforward. A single family home. Multifamily can be if anybody, CJ could probably explain those better than me. But it's just a multifamily, like a town or condo development, or commercial properties that are essentially businesses. So yeah.
Thank you.
So what you need from us, Larry, is an email with the picture and an address.
Yeah, email with the picture and address. If you have a landowner or a business owner's name, that way we can contact them if they do win. That's always helpful, but we can always do that after the fact as well. So if it's like your neighbor and you know them, feel free. The more information we have, the easier it is. But at the same time, at the very minimum, we just need a high quality photo that we can use to present and an address.
And then you want to reiterate when they have to be here.
When they have to, you mean the winners?
No, when you want our photos.
So my deadline for submission to me would be April 1st of this year. Yeah.
And how many winners are we selecting? Is it going to be in every category in every district? So like 12?
Yeah, I mean, potentially we can do that. And there's no, it's a very open-ended selection process. If you feel that there are 2 in a district that are outstanding, that are deserving, we can give awards to both. Yeah. This is more of a celebration than a competition. So.
That's a great way to say it.
Yeah. So I want to make sure our community gets recognized for the efforts that they make.
All right, now I'm going to open this to public comment. Is there any member of the public who wishes to comment on item number 5? Okay, thank you, ladies. Now we will close public comment, and I don't know how much discussion this commission wants to do, but if you have anything else you'd like to say, now we know April 1st, everything has to be here to Mr. Kim. And then we're going to vote April 16th.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Is that good? That gives us enough time? Okay. And we don't need a motion on this, so I thank you very much for at least being present and listening. And I always appreciate questions, and I'm sure Mr. Kim does as well. So now we're going to move on to the commission communications. And who would like to start telling us what it is you have to say? CJ, thank you for volunteering.
That's what I do. Just keep on keeping on.
Okay.
Nothing to report at this time.
Nothing at all?
Yeah, not so much.
Okay, thank you.
Storms have been really something. I hope the progress at Ramona hasn't been impacted at all.
Well, I took a look at it yesterday. It looked, actually we went by last night and we went by again this morning. You know, people are used to working in the rain. That's all. So they get dressed for it and they just continue. It looks good. I mean, we are on track.
I agree.
That's great.
You can certainly see the progress. Yes, I live very near Ramona Park, and we go there frequently, and yes, it is. You can see the progress.
You walk over there, don't you?
Yes, yeah.
And I want to thank everyone for going into Mr. Nude's shop, the noodle factory over there on, is it 5th Street? 5th Street. And I did meet the gentleman the other day, actually, at a football party, who bought that entire block. So I was so surprised. I mean, I didn't know that these people I said, you have to give them some time. They just moved in there. And if you're going to buy the whole block and you're going to redesign that part of Grover, you should actually give them the ground floor for their restaurant. So that's what I had to say about that. Okay, LaShonda.
So my kids are homeschooled and they are in a club called the Impact Club. It's like Interact for Rotary. They do projects, and they are having a blood drive at 16th Street Park on Friday, March 20th. And if you would be so gracious as to sign up, I'm going to post this on my Facebook page and all over the internet. They can't give blood because you have to be 16. But yeah. If you guys would like to sign up, scan the QR code and it takes you right to the scheduling app.
And what is the goal? Is there a goal?
It's just them
for the club?
It's called the Impact Club,
Yeah.
and that's what they do. They tomorrow they will be sewing together pouches for possum babies for the wildlife.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who has what do they call it? Do you have something we can take home and put next to our sewing machine, and all of a sudden, we're gonna be able to make that pouch?
Can we have a possum?
Instructions?
Oh, like a template? Okay.
Yeah, that's the word,
Yeah,
pattern.
their homeschool teacher does, yeah.
Is that you?
No, I'm the learning coach. She's the-
Well,
the
that's very
employed
exciting.
person.
Huh?
Yeah,
And
and
you
they'll
will,
be, you guys can come by 16th Street Park tomorrow at 10:30.
okay.
Yeah. What did I say? 16th Street Park. I felt like I said Ramona, but.
Well,
Yeah.
that's great. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, they meet there once a month. They do creek cleanups and beach cleanups.
This is the
and-
Impact Club?
Yeah, it's like Interact
Okay, so where do they meet?
at 16th Street Park.
Oh, you meet at the park once a month?
Mm-hmm.
With you there and the other coach?
No, it's the HST.
Okay.
HST is homeschool teacher. And yeah, and there's a kid that comes from Bakersfield, because that's where their school is set up. And Bakersfield, right? The guy comes from Bakersfield once a month for the club.
Are you president of the club?
No. Yeah, no. There's no president. No
Well,
president.
thank you very much for that.
I'll
Elisa?
just make a quick comment
That's
that
fine.
after we did the award for best overall holiday lights display, I'd walk down there with the kiddos and talk to the, really nice woman there that's her house, and she was just over the moon about getting the award. So it's just
Good.
nice that we made, a difference for somebody.
Yeah,
It's,
that is good.
it's so much a part of this community. And
Meeting
even
them,
the
I think,
people that
makes it
opened the
good.
noodle shop, they knew 2 days before that there was going to be an award, so they all went to the store and figured out what they were going to do. And as we all know, we were here at the city council meeting when we made that presentation. They couldn't believe it happened
Yeah,
to
she
them.
was very happy.
Yeah. And when you go in there, it's customary to bow, so be sure you bow. Then they know that, oh, their friends are going to, so. The last time I was there, the line was outside the door and around the corner.
Good.
That's fun. Okay. Anything else?
I'm-
CJ, nothing else?
Not yet, but I want to check it out.
Nope, not at this time.
Okay.
I think today was perfect.
Any staff communications for us?
Well, our next event is tomorrow evening from 5:30 to 7:30. We have our first community game night of the year at our community center. It's just open to the public. It's a free night of some pizza and some snacks and board games and people to play with. So if you have your favorite board game but you don't have anyone to play with, bring it in with you. If you're just looking to meet some people who like to spend time on a table and are hyper competitive at bridge or whatever game it is that they like to play, just feel free to come. This is our fourth one. We did 3 last year, and we're just trying to kind of keep it going and give an opportunity for people to enjoy kind of a tech-free Friday night for a couple hours for families. And we also have some Legos on the side for kids to play with, and it's just a fun time. So very casual, no RSVPs required, and we have some wonderful volunteers who join us to set up and play new games. I think a gentleman brought a card game in once, and I believe one of us, played with him, and it was, it kind of hurt our brains after a while. It was a very challenging game, but
Is this called game night?
yeah, this is game night. It's
Okay.
a community game night. So
And then who
it's
brings-
5:30 to 7:30 tomorrow night at the community center. So yeah.
And what about food? Is that brought to you by volunteers?
Oh no, we just we'll have pizza and some snacks. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you need financial, would you like financial donations to that?
We always accept donations and
Gosh, I love
sponsorships,
that.
but right now, if not, we are prepared to cover pizza for the evening. Yeah.
That's not coming out of one of the capital improvement projects.
It doesn't meet the financial threshold yet.
Do they play Monopoly?
We do have Monopoly and several other games. We have probably 30
They take games.
board games.
Oh, you take games?
You can bring games.
Oh, you can bring your own games, but we have about 30, 35 different board games too. So
Yeah, I've been there.
yeah.
And this has gone on for the last 4 years?
No, just I started it
last
last year. So this is our fourth one. We do one every quarter.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And what is the turnout like?
our last one in I believe late November with our highest turnout ever was close to 25 people. I'm like around
A
that
lot of
range.
adults.
Yeah.
How do you
older adults, and they
advertise?
come and it's great.
Based just social media through our activity guide. But yeah, and what I'm doing is for the specific event, I have a sign-in email list, so those people will be emailed only for game night and not spam for anything else. So just that way.
I've
so
also printed out some flyers and taken them to elementary schools
Yeah.
as well.
And it's in the activity guide, which comes out 4 times a year.
cool. So yeah, so if you have some time, yeah, I mean it's open to all ages. Yeah, please join us.
Deal.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Thank
That's
you.
great. That's tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
And I have no other comments.
You- Thank you. I believe we are now at the end of our agenda. So if there is no further business, going once, going twice, no further business, going 3 times, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:19:02. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gosh, that was great. I love these meetings because everybody is so responsive. That's what we want.
I'll wait for you, Larry.
We love Larry.
So had you attended the commissioner conference before?
Oh, yeah. Well, you mean the parks and the
Yes.
the CPRS?
Overall Parks and Rec
Yeah.
conference. Yes.
Yeah. And so
This?
yeah, I've gone twice. I
am
learned so
going
much,
to
you know, each time.
Call,
And have so
call
much to
Andy Morris
bring
tomorrow
back.
morning and have him mention this at 6:30
It's
tomorrow
by and
morning.
large,
Because there's a whole group that listens to him every morning between 6:30 and
so like the
6:45, and he
Larrys,
will mention this tomorrow.
you know, cities and stuff like
Actually, I'm
that.
gonna
I didn't
scan it
meet
and send it to
another
him.
Parks commissioner,
Oh,
you know, actually, and so it's all very, you know, people they're dedicating their lives to, you know, parks and recreation essentially, and so you meet just some of the coolest people, right? Which is all
So
really
do you-
into
Do you want me to
just how
bring
to
donuts to
do
this?
fun things for
Don't you feed
community and
high sugar
facilitate
content food?
a good-natured environment.
Oh, I've not ever done this. No, I'm
And it's
just,
really neat to kind of hear how
I
other cities
personally
are
have
doing
not
some
done
stuff.
I was hoping you would say that. Okay.
Especially with, you know, like their social media game, you know, I've a whole bunch of time about how I feel, you know, our social media game is
oh, all right, so you don't need me?
poor, as far as actually getting out.
God, I can't believe it.
Information and stuff like that. Like we do,
Would
like, we
you-
do the bare minimum.
Only,
just
that's where we
buying
go. You want
that
Foster donut
super
donation,
good,
don't you?
You know.
Say
But
yes.
Seeing what some of these other cities are doing here, where it's, you know, it's actually, it's
Yeah, I
real
s-
people kind of getting
I
behind the
see it right
camera and
there.
updating